Hi, welcome to a fresh video here on the channel. We are talking about Charlie Curnow in this video. I didn't want to make the video. I was hesitant. I saw the report last week from Sam Edmund. I didn't want to make the video. I thought, nah, it's just noise. Then today, the Herald Sun comes out with a fresh piece. And I'll be honest, a few people texted it to me. I thought, what do you think? I'm like, all right. So in this video, I'm going to lay out everything that's happened over the last week with what seems to be the Charlie Curnow story rearing its head again. Okay, so we'll start with the Herald Sun article. Okay, so the Swans have cast their eye on Big Blue Charlie Curnow for 2026 due to the fact that they are reportedly calling on Jamarra Ugle-Hagan. So if you don't pay for the Herald Sun, then this video will be of value to you because I'll just read you the article, okay? So Sydney will attempt to lure Charlie Curnow to the Harbour City with the 28-year-old identified as the Swans' #1 target in their search to boost their key forward stocks. Sydney coach Dean Cox has made no secret of the fact that the Swans will be aggressive for players in the upcoming trade period to strengthen their team over the preseason. So this whole article is predicated on this next sentence, right? And this just gives you another idea into what we're dealing with when it comes to legacy media. But so Code Sports, which is an offshoot of the Herald Sun, Code Sports understands the club has had preliminary internal discussions around Curnow, who is contracted to the Blues until the end of 2029. The development comes as they have also cooled their interest on Jamarra Ugle-Hagan. So let me just unpack this. This is how an article gets written, okay? Code Sports understands that the club, Sydney, have had preliminary internal discussions around Curnow. That is literally as simple as, gee, Charlie Curnow's a good player. And maybe they've had a discussion around, would we offer something to Carlton for Charlie Curnow? Not even, let's table an offer. Not even, let's call his manager. Not even, let's call Carlton. Just, yep, Charlie would be good. Now, the reality is with the Swans, they've got some solid key forwards in their group that they're relying on at the moment. So Logan McDonald, he's 23. He's an up-and-coming player. I think he's going to be a really solid one for them. Joel Amati and, Hayden McLean's a forward and a ruck. Jack Bull is also on their list. So it's pretty clear that a player like Charlie Curnow would be valuable to Sydney, as he would to any club. All right, so that's that. Then last week was the report from Sam Edmund, who went on SEN and basically spoke around the Graham Wright press conference. He mentioned the Fab Five, and he also mentioned the following. So out of that group, can we just spend a little time on Charlie Curnow? 1 game left this season. He's not playing. A miserable campaign for him and his club. He has had more than a few of those now in his decade at that footy club, around the 2 Colemans and the run to that prelim final. So at 28, Charlie Curnow is a name that just will not go away in the trade space. So that's from Sam Edmund. At the end of this year, he has, Sam Edmund says, I think, a decision to make. Not so much with what he wants to do, but how he wants to go about it, if at all. So again, this is just opinion. This is not fact. This is just opinion. The Blues are almost certainly not going to trade him. So in one sentence, Charlie's got a decision, in Sam Edmund's view, on how he wants to go about it. Then in the very next sentence, he makes it really clear the Blues are almost certainly not going to trade him. And even if they do contemplate it, they will understandably want the absolute world for him. And Curnow won't just go anywhere. Geelong and Gold Coast are the 2 spots I personally could see him. And when you're a big management stable like his at Connor Sports, you've got competing interests. So he goes on to talk about the Ben King situation at Gold Coast. So Sam Edmund's more so talking about Gold Coast and Geelong. The Herald Sun today have reported that Sydney have reportedly had an internal discussion showing interest. So we have Herald Sun article, we have SEN report, and if you actually go back to the SEN report, which I can link in the description below, Sam Edmund also, it's so interesting. He speaks about how he believes that there's something happening, but in the same conversation speaks about how Carlton would just not make the deal for Curnow. So if we then take Herald Sun, SEN reports, great. Now, just to remind everyone what's coming out from all camps. Charlie, after the round 20 loss to Hawthorn, sought out an AFL.com.au reporter, Riley Beveridge, and said, "I'm playing at Carlton next year, so there you go. Nothing has happened. I will pretty much just put all my time into playing footy for this club this year and into the future, or next year and into the future years." Graham Wright was quoted in his press conference when he was asked around Charlie Curnow potentially leaving Carlton. "I don't think that's an issue. More rumour than anything else." And then there's the other pieces of information here. Like, these are factual. So we look at Charlie's season. There were two key surgeries here that I think are really important to note. The first one was on or about the 13th of September, 2024. He had the ankle reconstruction. Then on the 18th, or on or about the 18th of February, 2025, he underwent a procedure to remove a screw in his knee left over from a previous surgery, having suffered from discomfort in the match simulation. So if you cast your mind back to early preseason, he came back from the ankle reconstruction, started integrating back into the program. Then he felt soreness. Do you remember? He came out from the match simulation and evidently he needed to get the screw removed, which was from a previous surgery. So he's gone under the knife a couple of times, one being a proper ankle reconstruction, the other being another minor procedure on his knee. That might paint a picture as to why he didn't look very Charlie in terms of his athleticism in 2025. So there's that. And he's had a poor year and he hasn't performed to the level that he has set for himself. He is such a talked about player because he's that good. That's the reality. I don't think Charlie Curnow draws such attention without being a good player. Interesting to note. So Jacob Wiedering on SEN yesterday made some really interesting comments, and I want to unpack these with you as well. So let's take a listen.
Said that the list will need to improve, and that
no, I completely agree with that. And it's the nature of the game, and probably something I haven't experienced. You know, you have maybe one or two guys move each year that you're pretty close with and that have been with the club for a long time, and you know there might be a lot of change, there might not be. There's some decisions to be weighed up with, you know, players around my age, obviously, that have been well talked about. But it is the nature of the game. And, you know, players move now more than often. And hopefully I guess the mindset has been, if you want to play for the club, then you'll stay. If you don't, then you'll be moved on. And you want guys that play for the jumper, that play for the club. And I'm looking forward to, you know, the moves that he'll make and the guys that he brings in, and I'm sure they'll be great humans, great characters, and good footballers as well.
So this is another layer of pointed language, pointed, clear, no bullshit language. You know, Sam Walsh started with it. Well, Graham Wright really started with it. Sam Walsh went there, and then Wiedering here. Now, when he mentions people his age, so we're talking Jack Silvani, Charlie Curnow, De Koning's kind of his age, a couple of years younger, but still around about his age. So when you hear Jacob Wiedering's quotes there, you know, what do you make of them? And also, what do you make of this repeated insistence from the media to bring up this Charlie story? So I think what I'd like to do in this video and in this discussion below, when you write your comment, start with yes, no. I mean, do you think Charlie will be at Carlton next year, given the repeated attempts from the mainstream media to bring this story up? Do you think he'll be there next year? Do you think he'll request a trade? And then secondly, I do want to get your opinion on what you made of Jacob Wiedering's quote at the end there. So we'll chat to you in the comments, unpack this a bit more, and we'll go from there. Go Blues.
Yeah, I think the thing is just we've got to have a sort of no bullshit mentality. Just like carry on with the job at hand as players, worry about the things we need to, and then from there just try and play good footy.